Let's have a look at some update 20 stuff, shall we? Let's start by looking at the gear sealer. We're going to grab a random item and we are going to seal it just for funsies. Let's take this hat. Let's roll it a little bit here, just cheaply. Let's roll it with these. Mana regen and cooldown reduction, okay. Let me also spend some of these. Yeah, okay. So, the Vault Sealer is designed to be the final piece of gear in Vault Hunters. We have, in Update 20, removed the name Vorpal Focus and completely redone the item. It is now called an Ascendant Mark. Ascendant Mark is the same as the Vorpal Focus, so if you had some Vorpal Focuses in your world, they will be transitioned to be Ascendant Marks instead. The art is made by Nimbles. They look absolutely amazing, and they're super rare. There will probably be some new ways of obtaining these endgame though. Now, to seal a gear piece, it's going to require Ascendant Mark, Gold, and Paynite. And you put your gear piece in here, and it's going to tell you how expensive this specific one is. This one costs 570 Vault Gold, 950 Paynite, and 3 marks. Here's how it scales. If I put in an Omega item in here, it scales with rarity and with item level. The amount of marks is based on the rarity of the item. So if I take, like, I don't have a scrappy thing here, but this is a common thing, I think. So if I put a common item in here, it costs 2 marks. The amount of Paynite and Vault Gold is based off of the level of the item. Now, another cool thing with this is that I can also do this on a unique. If I do it on a unique item, it should cost 10. This is obviously a little bit bugged though. It should cost 10 marks, and it did in the dev instance, so I don't know what's happened here. But anyway, let's stick with the rare one. So I click this. It's a lot of gold, a lot of Paynite. This is a very end game mechanic. Although you can do this from the beginning. Check this out. If I get like a level 0, the cost is 0 gold and 0 Paynite, and only Ascendant Marks. Now I should say as well, the cost might change before we finally release. So I'm gonna seal this. Check this out. And now the gear is sealed. And what is a seal? Well, in this case, it replaced, I believe, the armor prefix, no, the health prefix, with every hit you take has a 20% chance to cast level 3 Frost Nova, which is a unique effect from the Frozen Orb, I believe. Now remember, you can do this on unique items too, right? It can replace any affix. It can also, at a very small chance, add an affix. So look at this level 0 item with a unique effect of less effect of Storm Arrow. And yes, this is a very expensive operation. Very expensive to do this stuff. But I think that's a good thing. I know people are probably going to be like, you know, oh, is it actually fair prices, etc. But if you think about the power of this, and you think about the position of endgame, and like when you're at the level, like I want this to feel special, if you know what I mean. Let's take a unique item. Should we take our Anne-Marie? Our very well-rolled Anne-Marie? Yeah, let's do it. You can seal any item, even uniques. So, yes, it's expensive, but how much Paynite do we have, actually? It's an interesting thing. 92,000 Paynite. You can get Paynite. It's not really used for many other things. It's 10 marks. Yep, it's a unique item, so it's 10 marks. Here we go. Oh, it's so bloody cool. There we go. It lowers the cooldown of group heal by 59% with every third attack deals 101% increased physical damage. Could have been better, but honestly, that's pretty damn good still. Let's do another one. Here we go. The idea is that this is the finalization of your vault gear. So this is 3 marks because they're rare, and the other things are the same because it's level 100. I just want to click this button all day. Replace the mana regen, that was the legendary, with 77% more effect of fear. So the things are always positive, by the way, but it might not be the stuff you want, right? I am very excited about this, but maybe I'm nerding out too much with gear crafting. I think gear crafting and gear modification is really, really cool. Before we move on, this is sort of how the gear line is going now. So you find a gear piece. That's the first step. Then you want to find best gear piece. So you want to find like a legendary roll. Then you want to roll and maximize it in artisan station. So you want to do empowered chaotic focus. You want to freeze. So you want to do all of that stuff. And then when you're done with all of that, you seal it. Instead of like before when you corrupted it and the outcome was very, very, very likely was going to be bad. So I love this. I think this is really, really cool. are we ready for the next feature? And this next thing is kind of a big overhaul of a system. We have basically redone the card system. My goal with the card system isn't to stop the min-maxers, absolutely game-breaking gear decks like Carolina's gear deck. I don't know if Carolina's here today. My intentions here is to make cards available to a lot more gamers. I want a lot more people to be able to enjoy cards. I want the balance between the different cards like evolving and stat to be much better. And I think that we've done it. I think that we've maintained the absolute mega ceiling that we have in the game while introducing features that will help average gamers to understand cards better. Let's start with the deck changes. Decks will now, in addition to their sizes, have 2 new features. One of them will be sockets, and this will be tied to the specific decks. It will be random on the specific deck, but tied to the deck. For example, a merchant deck can have up to 2 sockets and can have 0 sockets. While while the runic deck can have 0 sockets, can never have sockets. So that's adding another dimension to how you build your deck. Champion deck can also not have any sockets. So it's not necessarily big is better anymore. The second thing is, as you saw here, arcane slots. These slots can only hold arcane cards, and arcane cards cannot go in other slots. And as a trade-off to that, arcane cards have been simplified massively. Now when you choose an arcane card, there's no more requirements. They just work. So we can take this, it gives a level to Rampage. We can't put it here, but we can put it here. So now when you get your arcane cards, they're very, very simplistic. Very easy to organize yourself. Very easy to think about, okay, do I have any piercing javelin cards that I can slot in my deck? What deck do I want to use? There are decks that have no slots. There are decks that have several slots. And the arcane deck has only got arcane slots. This is a new deck, the arcane deck. It's not going to look like a pillager, by the way, which can only hold arcane cards. So you can get +8 skill levels with this card, with this deck. The second thing is the sockets. We have removed the complete weird RNG in black market where you can get enchanted decks. I've hinted about this in the past that we are going to remove it. We have completely removed it now, and instead we have sockets. Now, sockets are dependent on the deck itself. As I say, some can roll 0, some can roll 0 to 1. Some can roll 0 to 2, others can roll 1 to 2, and some decks can roll 1 to 3 sockets. What can you do with sockets? With sockets, you can put in cores. And cores are these. This is the Azure core. All blue cards would be 22% more efficient. There's a range here as well, although not visible at the moment. The range is, I think, 15 to 40% at the moment. We have the Crimson core that does the same for the red cards. We have the Golden core that does the same for the yellow cards. And we have the Viridian core that does the same for green cards. Now, you can't have 2 of the same core in a deck at any given time. Now, these are the colors. Then we have this one, Steadfast core. All stat cards will be 74% more efficient. This core can roll up to 160%, I believe. And this core is made to make stat cards be at least compatible with evolution cards. Because it's easier to build a deck with stat cards. Then we have the Bounty core. You get 1 crate tier completing a vault with at least 1 resource card. It's wrongly configured. It's going to be between 4 and 16 resource cards. So for those of you who are enjoying to have resource cards in your deck, this thing can roll 3 extra crate tiers depending on the resource cards. Then we have the Fortune core, another resource card buffer, plus 10% chance for resource cards to double the rewards. Also, you have a Starfruit card that requires you to kill 10 champions. You might get 2 when you do the 10 champions. Then we have the Shiny core. All foil cards will be 165% more efficient. Then we have Harvest core. Minus 20% resource card requirements. So it says kill 10 champions to get your Starfruit. Well, if you have this in, you have to kill 8 champions instead of 10. The Rainbow one is the Equilibrium core. 28.7% stat card efficiency per unique deck color. So if you build a multicolored deck, this thing will increase the stat card efficiency. And the final one is the Imperial core. All cards in 1 to 4 slots will be 100% more efficient. Yeah, so if I do the Steadfast core here and put that in here, all stat cards will be 74% more efficient. So now if I put a stat card in here, which people don't tend to use, like the 0.25% movement speed, it's going to be 0.44% movement speed. You see what I mean? You get the idea. So if I put the this core in here, the Equilibrium core, whatever it's called, boom. 28.7% stat card efficiency per each unique color. So I put one color in, it does 129 because it has one color. So that's 28% increase. And then, yep, it grows. And it grows again. And it grows again because I got a multicolor deck. Oh yeah, Look at this. You can now see how much you're currently impacting each card. So that works for evolution cards as well. You can now see underneath how much they're actually adding. So the idea is that we haven't reduced the ceiling of the game. We've just made it so that many decks will work differently. Now, here's a cool thing. Let's say that I find a new one of these. Actually, let me take my Viridian core here and let's put it in here. So this increases the efficiency of green cards. So my green card now got more efficient. It's 2.45 is what it's adding. Let's say that I find a new one of those cores. I got one that's 32%. I can now upgrade this. I can put this in and it will take the highest value. So that means that if you find a low roll one, but you want to use the core itself, you can put it in. You can play with it until you find a better one. I think that this is going to allow the min-maxers to do absolutely insane decks still. And I also think that it's going to allow the average gamer to take part and enjoy cards because it's going to be a lot easier to understand. We've also made it a lot easier to manage your cards. The card upgrade station. You put the juice in here and you put your card in here. And in a very vanilla way, big shout out to Nimbles for coming up with this UX. You just pick out your upgraded card. It's so much cleaner. How do you get card juice? You put it in the recycler and then you get the juice. Additionally, we have removed the wild cards. No more wild card fluff will be in update 20. Instead, we are focusing down on the stat cards, the resource cards, the evolution cards, and the arcane cards. That's the card stuff. The card binder, of course, comes with this as well, but we've looked at this thing in the streams before, but we'll have a quick look. This should now be working as intended, where you can actually store stuff. We are currently working on a UI for deck building. So when I take a deck and I put it in here, we're currently working on a good system so that you can have your cards here, you can have the different filters, and then you can build your deck on the side at the same time. We've actually buffed evolution cards as well. So you might have thought that evolution cards were fine the way they were, powerful enough. Sure, but they also had a bit of fluff that I got rid of. Evolution cards will now no longer ever require a card type. They will always require a color and a position. This should make it a lot faster to get the evolution cards you want and a lot less fluff and garbage. So what does this mean? Well, as you can see here, none of these have a different requirement. They have a position and they have a color requirement for them to trigger. Whereas in the past, here, this one says for each row evolution card. This cannot roll anymore. Groundbreaking, sweet. Yeah, I just think that simplifies things. Again, my goal here is not to remove the ceiling of the power of decks or cards. My goal is to make it more inviting to new players. I think we've succeeded, Dylan. I think so. Based on the few chatters that have replied, I think we've succeeded. Next up, I'm going to show you a new unique. This is fully designed by our beloved artist, Exploding Dice. He's designed the entire item. I've had nothing to do with this, and I think it's great. It's Ender Rings. He's designed the model and the feature. It looks awesome, dude. Ender Rings gives you levels of warp. It gives you projectile speed to the warp, so 10 to 50%. And it lowers the cooldown of warp. This thing makes warp kind of interesting. And remember, every unique effect can be sealed now. So you can get this as a seal. Look at how quick that... Oh my goodness, I overthrew that. This might actually... No joke. Look at the distance. Holy shit, dude. This might actually become the new meta for movement in Vault. It's so quick if you use this thing. Look how quick it throws the dart. That's not even a max roll. Oh my goodness. Okay, I missed my base. This is a new minigame. Try and hit your base. So big shout out to Explode Dice for designing that. Absolutely awesome person. The next new thing. Do you guys remember we talked about changing Vault loot so that ornate chests didn't have any gear in them? Not a lot of people like that idea, right? Instead of changing the ornate chests loot tables, we added this item. The Blacksmith Capstone. This capstone will scrap all non-legendary gear found in chests, leaving only the outcome resources. So it will actually automatically identify the gear, and it will determine whether or not something is legendary and scrap it if it isn't, or scrap it if it is not legendary. I have one more thing to show you all. We got a new Vault Gear rarity, Chaos Gear. This is a new rarity, which will most likely be something that you can find in dungeons and from champions. And for the min-maxer, this is probably the dream, because a chaotic vault piece doesn't give a damn about modifier restrictions. Now, a chaotic vault gear piece might look just like this, which looks like a very normal gear piece, but it might also look very different. Okay, this one broke the rules in a quite boring way, but it did break the rules. It has got 2 durability rolls. Here we go. Here's another rule breaker, clear rule breaker, double effect avoidance roll. The point is this. They don't care about where the affix is positioned, and they don't care about, for example, the exclusive rolls. So you can get a gear piece that has both increased attack damage % and resistance, for example. Or you can get one that has 3 rolls of mana regen. Now, with Chaos Gear, they roll anywhere between 3 modifiers and 5 modifiers. So they can never have 6 modifiers, which is an Omega gear piece, but they can have 5 modifiers, which is the best for a Chaos Gear piece. For the min-maxer, this means that you're going to be hunting for Chaos Gears that have 5 affixes in a preferred way. However, Chaos Gear, as someone pointed out, has no crafting potential. They cannot be altered. So this is a straight up just go collect as many as you can and hope for the best. Every time you roll 1 modifier, by the way, every time you roll 1 affix, it lowers the chance of getting the affix again. But look at this. Imagine one of them being legendary. And look at this. So there's definitely a lot of space here to get lucky. But it is a big gamble. Let me show you the last things of Update 20 that I want to show you today. The first thing is this. People have asked for prestige keybinds. We have added a prestige keybind for each one of these so that you can bind it to something and disable it with a keybind instead of using the wheel. Great little quality of life, great little nice thing to just be able to turn off your wings or turn off your feather or whatever on a keybind. And the next thing is the crystal workbench has a different look. And this is in preparation for what's to come. The sigils that I've been talking about, which increases or scales the difficulty and the rewards of the vault objective. But essentially it works the same, right? So you get your catalysts, whatever you want, and you put them in here, and then you get your crystal, and you put it in the middle, and then you can put the crystal seal and the ornament. We've also done these nice tooltips so the new players knows what these slots are for. And then to take a crystal out, there's no more button. You just do this. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Right, we've looked at some new features. I hope you guys are excited. I think the game is getting a lot more polished. I mean, look at this bloody UI, am I right? It's all coming together, Dylan.